In 2002, Sweet Home Alabama was released, starring Reese Witherspoon. Well, she moved to New York City and she tried to move on with her life. Well, that's just it. She tried to move on. Well, after finding a new interest, she realized that her ex, played by Josh Lucas, never signed the divorce papers. She had to venture back to Alabama to get him to sign the papers. And that was his intent all along.
What? Speak.
You show up here after 7 years without so much as a, hey there, Jake, remember me, your wife? Ah, honey, looking good. How's the family?
You expect me to tell you you look good? But they run out of soap down at the Piggly Wiggly since I left?
They laugh at that up north, or wherever it is you've been?
You knew where I was. And don't even pretend you spent all this time missing me.
Well, I missed you, all right. But at this range, my aim is bound to improve.
Is that a threat? I've got a lawyer charges $3.50 an hour. He billed me every time you sent these papers back.
Well, I'm glad to see you finally got the message.
Shut up, Aaron.
You see, eventually that love begins to fade. It wasn't lost, it just grew cold. And 7 years of after never seeing each other, they came back together. And so as the story plays out, we see these two, and it almost hits home with us. And so we too can see a love like before. Turn with me to Revelations 2, chapter 1 through 7. Here John writes about the angel of the church in Ephesus. These are the words of him who holds the 7 stars in his right hand, walks among the 7 golden lampstands. I know your deeds, your hard work, your perseverance. I know that you cannot tolerate wicked men, and you have tested those who claim to be apostles but are not, and you have found them false. You have persevered and have endured hardship for my name's sake and have not grown weary. Yet I hold this one thing against you. You have forsaken your first love. Remember the height from which you have fallen. Repent and do the things at first. You did at first. And if you do not repent, I will come to you and remove your lampstand from its place. You know, I think of this, how when John was exiled on the island of Patmos because of his faith, and he's writing this letter to the church in Ephesus, because Ephesus was a harbor city where people did commerce and they did trade, and lots of people had ideas in this city. And so John is writing this to them to give them encouragement, to give them hope, to let them know that you're doing all the right things. You're doing them as you've been called to do. You know Jesus, you're giving, you haven't forgotten how to give. You do all these things and they're shaping your life. And not only that, but you have forgotten one thing. They have forgotten the most important key ingredient: love. And when you look at love, it's like our picture in Reese Witherspoon. She had lost her pizzazz. She lost her love. Not really lost it, she had forgotten it. And by forgetting this key ingredient, we can see that John is writing hope in the keys that he's giving to the church. He's saying, hey, keep doing what you're doing, but don't forget the most important thing, which is love. And he says, remember. That's the first key thing we take away from this. And not only does he say remember, but that he says repent. And if you don't repent, here's what's going to happen. But he says remember, and then he says repent. And so if the church, the people are to repent because they're not loving, then they will see the benefits and they will then rekindle this love that has been given to them. And so your role is to love unconditionally, even though when the other person isn't doing their part. And so let us not neglect love. Let us not forget our loved one and then forget how to do it and while we do all the other things. And so the church is encouraged just to do that with Christ. He's transformed us. The gospel's transformed us not only inwardly, but outwardly. And if you remember the one key thing and you repent, then you will love like before.